Hello, 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 my Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram family, my Let's Talk people. I am Regina Smithwick. I'm your host, and today we have a special edition of Business Spotlight. I would like to introduce to you a great man that I met several months ago in a new town that I would call technically my hometown of Danville, Virginia. We have Bryant Hood. Bryant, thank you for coming and welcome to our show.
Thank you for having
Oh, no problem, no problem at all. He he is an advocate. He is a fighter for Danville. He's a political a person in Danville as well as a businessman, and he is an entrepreneur. He does it all. So we have a lot to talk about today. So when we get back, we'll talk. Welcome back. All right. Well, Brian, let's go ahead and just dive on in and get into this. So tell me your why. Why are you doing what you're doing?
my why. Um, that's a great question. I think we talk about your why and as opposed to your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I went for years and years and said, I do not know what my purpose is. And I had to have one older lady just look at me. She said, the things that you do that's effortless.
Mm.
And she say that because she said, you're always in the community and always have love. You start out, you have some people that may be good at playing basketball. Some people may wash cars,
Mm-hmm.
play golf, do so many different things as hobbies. Me, I got to drive and push off of doing community things. And I think what really set in with me, I remember telling my mom succumbed to dementia. So I watched dementia, go through my mother and my grandmother. And I remember I was able to tell my mom, I'm gonna do more good than I did. And it like that kept echoing over and over and I said that. So just became like everything that I would do, I would donate some of it to something. And it wasn't forced, it was just kind of automatic.
Mm-hmm.
Started thriving more off of giving back. And it was just like, that was almost like a rush to me.
Yeah.
To see something good, I wanted to be service to someone or to some organization or something within.
Mm-hmm.
And that just became a purpose. So I just stuck with it.
Isn't that something how giving is made? I think it has something to do with your hormones or your chemical balance or something about giving. We're wired to feel good when we give. It's a wired thing.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how you get and take, and you feel good for a little while, but when you give, it just stays in your heart, and it's kind of contagious, and it makes you want to keep doing it. I think God designed us that way. So we keep on giving. I really believe in that. So now you told me that your purpose and why you do. So let's talk about some of the roadblocks to get to this purpose. Did you have any roadblocks you could tell us about?
You know what? I think the small roadblock that I seen is just an example of something I could tell you that happened.
Okay.
I had me and a partner. I had a frontline CD store, so I had a meeting with a partner. We went a few years. That went good. I started branching out, doing more promotional events, and that's charity events came about. I remember having a mix shop also on the side where I've worked with like over 100 DJs.
Mm-hmm.
Stereo, and I would distribute it out as promotional product.
Okay.
For moving into this place, I had a friend of mine from Chicago, and he was talking about podcasting, and this was 2010.
And you talking about podcasting back then?
Talking about that, also doing doing a radio station we were going to do together independently.
Mm-hmm.
That was new to me because I'm not computer savvy even to this day. But I remember going there, putting the building in my name, getting everything set up, and he had to move back. He moved to Florida. So he left. So now,
Wow.
least and not knowing exactly what I was going to do at this place,
Mm-hmm.
right in the heart of I'm not going to call it a troubled area.
Mm-hmm.
The crime volume was high.
Okay.
Area. So as I got there, I remember just sitting there, and I would be in there for weeks at a time, just kind of looking around because I had no idea what I was going to do at this place.
Mm-hmm.
And as few steps started going, I would come outside, I would clean the windows, I would do different things.
Mm-hmm.
And I would see people walking up and down the street. It got to the point where I opened up that place with pain, no idea what I was going to do. But as things progressed, I turned it into Stay Hood production.
Wow.
I didn't know exactly which way I was going with it. I know I loved music, I know I loved entertainment, and I know I loved community. So as I was there, people would literally walk across the street so they wouldn't have to walk in front of the building.
Mm.
No one embraced me. No one spoke. It was just like people during those times, they wanted to know why was I there? Because if I couldn't give them a reason, like, who is this guy? He's not from here. From the south side of Danville, like that in a place. But I distinctly remember that. And that to me affected me because I went through that for months until I finally figured out you got to start connecting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, fast forward by people going by, I remember stopped this one gentleman and I talked to him and he was just telling me, finally asked what I was doing there. And I was just telling him this, I want to make this more like a community place, but I do music, I do third. Nothing like that had been put there.
Mm-hmm.
We were just talking and he gave me his story. Now, you know, it's always a thing where you say you can't judge a book by its cover.
Mm-hmm.
But if you show me a book and it's got cars on the front, it's a book about cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just talking to him and looking at him, you would kind of judge him for the environment. I'll just say that.
Right.
So, you know, looking at him, one thing he kept saying throughout our conversation was, please don't judge me. Kept saying, I said, listen, I don't judge anybody, and I don't. But when I heard his story, he played collegiate football, was really good, graduated college, became a physical therapist, had a family, fell on hard times, and this is where he's at.
Wow.
Never know. Everybody has a story.
That's right.
Kept interacting with him. I remember one day, my building sets in a fork. So in the back of the building, I would have people sitting back there drinking all day.
Mm-hmm.
And the direction I'm trying to go, I said, I don't want to have patrons or orders come in and feel a certain way because they're seeing this in the back. But that was prejudging. Many lessons within lessons. So that was me prejudging. Fast forward, I remember talking to a sheriff candidate that was running.
Okay.
I said, man, do you think there's anything I can do to get them to stop drinking back there in the back of the building? Because I don't want clients or anything coming up, and that's what they have to see.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, that's a public street. Even though they're not supposed to be drinking, you can't.
Right.
Let me tell you what happened from that point. Time went on. My building has a couple, so that's open and closed both ways. I left one Thursday. I didn't come back to that building until the following Thursday. My door was steady open. Even if wind would blow a little bit, it would open. The same people I felt shouldn't be in the back of that building looked out, told me if anybody rode up, they could tell you what kind of car, who they were, if they put anything in your mailbox. They protected me like that.
Wow.
So I judged them, but it was a valuable lesson to me. So the small, I know I jumped off track for a minute, but
No, you didn't. Actually, you did.
But a small setback was me not being embraced when I've been embraced in other areas of what I do. And they had to get to know me. So when they weren't embracing me, that was a setback to me because I felt like, am I doing this the right way, the right reason? Am I going to be blessed for this? Or am I going to be able to connect with this community? It was a whole lot. So, you know, you always right there at your breaking point before you start figuring out the problem. And that was me. That was my main setback. I have developed over years that we do not have bad days. So when I think about setbacks, and it started. I'm going to go biblical for a minute. It started with an elder told me to read Psalms 27:37.
27:37. Writing it down.
Psalms 27 and 37. I read them daily. 37 in the morning, 27 at night.
Okay.
And I passed that along to so many people. I said, ever since I started that, I've never had a bad day. Now, you have man-made situations. You have big. You have so many different things that can come.
Mm-hmm.
You're having a bad day. That means that's just an obstacle for your day. Your day itself, I've not had a bad day.
Yeah, I don't really call, like I said too. My thing is always when people talk about Mondays, they always go like, "Oh, I hate Mondays." I say, "You better stop talking too loud because somebody can fix that for you. You won't have another Monday to worry about. You better stop complaining." I was like, Monday is every day, like man-made days. The days were made by man. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So at one point, they didn't have no days named. So why are you hating something that was just man-made? Really think about it. Really think about it. So I get what you're saying. And one of the things you were saying too about the gentleman in the back, I think I would have done the same thing because we're so used to seeing and we just judge that, oh, they're just winos or, that's old school word, right? They winos. And, they just nothing but trouble. Right. But to them, they feel that they know that area, that's their territory. And they were watching you just like you were watching them. Yes. They saw you in there. They saw you doing things and cleaning. They saw that, and they saw your spirit as he's obviously here to do something good. Yeah. So let's help him out. And I know he finally, bringing some life to his place, and, so let's just look out for him. He ain't been back yet. Nope. Let's just watch it. And that's what he did.
We built trust. I knew everybody. By that time, everybody knew me in that community, and I knew everybody in there. We always trusted. You would have them. You have people that would give from a place of not having to help support youth and just doing different things. They bought in. But I tell people, I said, you make people feel like they're number one. You have befriended them, and you're going to have a friend and that'll have a volunteer that'll help you with anything. And that's what I did at the community, because I always worked with people. I always treated people how I would want to be treated. Mm-hmm. But judged anybody off of any status, any look, any of that. I never did. I've always considered myself a misfit. That's what I always wanted to be. I never wanted to be with the in crowd. I wanted to go against the grain and be with another crowd, because that crowd has their own individuality at the end of the day. And that's what we need.
I hope some younger people watch this, because that's a very valuable lesson right there. Don't go with everyone else because they already have enough of them. Right. Go with the people that they don't have enough of, because that's where creativity happens. That's where growth happens. That's where maturity happens, because you'll learn about other things, because you're already going to know what's over there, because all y'all doing the same thing. Yep. And I mean, I think a lot of us, especially young, we influence so much, and we want to be the cool, the popular, but it pays to not be popular sometimes.
It does.
Because you kind of keep your grind going, right? Because you don't know the distractions or all that flashing and dashing. So good point. Very good point. So let's look at you and Mr. Hood in 5 years. Where do you see yourself?
In 5 years, we just recently started a nonprofit called the Hood Foundation. Mm-hmm. It's made up of 3 key components. The first component, of course, is our ACE Academy, with the youth ages of 10 to 15. Mm-hmm. And then we're doing reentry program, coming home. And the final, our third component is called Operation Stay Hood. Mm-hmm. So what I'm looking to do is to grow each one of those, and particularly the Operation Stay Hood, because that's when I'm starting out with getting 1,000 citizens to invest $2.50 a week, right? $2.50 a week. That's one 20-ounce drink a day, right? but you're only getting it for 1 week. So $250 once a week, 1,000 citizens, 1 month, you have $10,000 that can go into underserved community at our discrepancy. So now if someone needs something done, one of the programs we have, I said that, we can have a community of like going back and just having elders or seniors at a bus stop.
Mm-hmm.
One of the programs that are, what happens with that is if you work second shift or third shift, we can give you a stipend or a voucher. All we need you to do is we'll give you a background check. You go out throughout the community and have you introduced to parents. You have a chart. You find out exactly who's supposed to be on what bus at that area. So they'll be able to watch, monitor that. As they're watching and monitoring that, if they say, okay, well, we can't give them cash, but it doesn't say we can't give them a Visa gift card for $250 a month or anything,
right,
or pay your utility bills for you or something that can give back. But what it cuts out on bullying, it cuts out sex trafficking, abduction,
a lot.
drugs, skipping school, because it's easy for that person to look at a chart and say, okay, wait a minute, Miss Lorraine's daughter didn't get on the bus today. Let's find out what's going on. So that's just one small component. We also want to use it where we're able to allocate some of that money and say you have a 19, 20-year-old that just may not be in position to further himself at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Able to work with devices and computers, the things that this youth know how to do.
Mm-hmm.
Let's set up in the community and teach elders small soft computer skills.
Mm-hmm.
We'll buy you the laptop.
Mm-hmm.
Bought him the laptop, set him up where he may charge $5 or something small. Set him up for success with that. He gets to keep the laptop and further himself if he wants to continue to teach and utilize things like that. So those are just small things we want to do. The ACE Academy, which is ACE, which is Arts, Culture, and Edutainment. So we use the term edutainment, which we merge entertainment and education together. So what we're doing is we're setting it up as a real academy. First course is between 10 to 12 years old, and then 13 to 15-year-old. It's an 8-week program.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have their own portfolio, plus a certificate. Then we'll start 8 weeks after that, but we're teaching them in fashion, writing, photography. So we're gonna, and all of that is gonna tie itself in to make a big project at the end of the 8 weeks. So,
wow. And what's the age for that?
10 to 12, and then 13 to 15.
And it's every 8 weeks, it just rotates. You just do it again and again to try to get as many children and the teenagers in there, right?
Yep. And it's not that it's necessarily for at-risk youth at all. It's for who wants to be in arts and culture.
Culture and entertainment, education, and everything.
Yep. So
that's a good idea. And that'll give people, sometimes they need stuff like that to find their purpose.
Because I didn't have that when I was younger.
Yeah.
My mom was disabled when I was 8.
Oh, okay.
To be able to maneuver in the streets and make it, it's something different. So I just want to give the youth something that they want to buy in. And, just like photography, I had a gentleman, business owner, who donated Lou a camera. So the community is actually out and doing a whole lot. And then when we're looking at this youth of today, I remember I was on a panel and I was speaking about the youth, and I said, this generation is one of the smartest, wittiest, innovative
very
ever. And I had a gentleman say, Hood, you must be out of your mind. Let's don't do that no more. Let's stop with that right there. Because what we have to understand is, if they weren't the things that they stated they were, they wouldn't be up on attack with them. Because you got to think, all revolutions start with the youth. So what society almost is doing is, we don't want to empower this. Why would they want to empower this generation? Because this generation will start looking at things and start, because they're already talking investment, they're already talking buying in, they're already talking real estate, they're already talking things that
Bitcoins and everything else,
NFTs, the whole nine, that can set up generational wealth. So that kind of goes against the power structure. That's a whole nother ball game. But
Mm-hmm.
youth are under attack, but they're sharp. They just go about things different than when we go through. Things change. I remember the Run DMC one time. My mom,
what in the world are you listening to? Mm-hmm.
I listen what they're listening to, and which brings me to another story with doing mentoring. I had a young gentleman the other day, and they tend to give me mentees that some kind of say, you know, this is a lot that's going on with. See what you can do with them also.
Mm-hmm.
My partner that I work with, he has a program. He is so spot on because he comes from that background.
Okay.
So he is effective, very effective. And so one day I was with this gentleman, this young gentleman. I was talking to him, and he went on in and he was telling me his spiel about what he thinks about Canville. And he lived in Cleveland, Ohio, a place called Reedsville, Chatham, and I want to say Lynchburg. So I'm saying, you're 14. You live in a lot of different places. It's hard for him to get his footing.
Yeah, his roots. Yeah.
So my way of connecting with the youth is always let them know that I am your elder, but let's find some common ground on what you like, or, you know, break the ice, so to speak.
Right.
So music to me is a soundtrack to your life. So music is you're always able to draw some kind of connection with music. So I'm listening to him, and he tells me his top 5 artists. Ironically, 4 out of the 5 are deceased.
Oh.
So that made me think. So I said, okay, you're telling me your top 5. 4 of them are dead from being murdered or drugs. So I said, okay. So as I'm listening, he's playing a song for me, and I told him, I said, you know what? I'm no longer judging what you all like as far as music goes. I'm not going to judge you all. But he did something, because the song he was playing had a lot of profanity. He said, I'm going to play something else, because I don't think this is good that I'm playing all this profanity. I said, you know what? I respect you for that, and I appreciate you.
Yeah, that was nice that he actually acknowledged that.
But as we're listening, what made me think about it and think about our youth is I went back to, because the particular artist he was playing was deceased. He was like, that was boy, this. And so now he's pouring himself. So what I'm thinking, I said, you know what? We have to understand that a lot of these youth are listening to trauma music.
Oh.
And what happened to them. So it's all on social media. So their favorite artist has been slain.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going through a pain from within, still listening and singing their music.
Mm-hmm.
Got to be careful with the youth with that. So understand.
Yeah, good point.
Because they want to be talked to. They don't always want to be talked to. And I think that we think, you know, as adults, we tend to think that we didn't have a youth. We weren't young. We never do nothing.
We thought our parents did the same thing, right? We all generation do the same thing. We all think the same thing.
So
we forget that we were young too.
Absolutely. Almost like when they say don't you know, get out of the room when grown folk talking. No, I say come in the room when grown folk talking. Grown folk just be mindful of what they're talking about. Because my daughter, who's 18 now, I remember when we were 11 years old, and she loves seafood. So we were talking about shrimp and different things. And I said, yeah, because I like scallops, this and that. And she said, Dad, I don't know what a scallop is. I didn't think something that small. See, we're so used to talking to them and assuming they know. They don't ask questions. They don't know what we think they know.
That's true.
She didn't know what a scallop was. And I said, well, if it's never been presented to you. So after that, I started making sure. I said, listen, I don't care what it is. If you don't know what something is, you want to know, ask me. If I don't know. But we have to be mindful of these things. It's kind of like putting children out at 18 places. We tend to do that. And so it's almost like we put you out at 18 and say, go live a life. Well, you never taught.
Go live a life.
Throw you into bad credit to start and then work backwards.
That's how it happened to me.
Yeah, I know I went on.
Go to college. That happened to me. You go there. They have the little table set up with the people giving you free mugs and cups and jackets for a credit card, and you just want the free stuff and sign them all. I had 6 credit cards, and freshman year in high school, I had 6 credit cards. Not one job, but 6 credit cards.
Me either. And
I was just buying clothes for parties. I was running gas cars up. So I mean, that's a great point. And my boys will be 18 this year too. And I've been teaching them like, oh, don't get this, don't get credit cards, don't like setting them up for, like you said, success as well as building a legacy for their families and their grandkids. And so you don't have to keep doing the same thing. Because I just been enlightening, and I just my awakening happened 2 years ago, and I really realized like a lot of stuff that was going on around me, and I was not pleased with myself, as well as um, how we conduct business, how we do things, how we relate to each other, how we communicate. It's a lot of things that the system will love you to continue to do.
yes, it's money.
Because it goes towards their benefit.
Money in it. It's
Yeah,
money.
right. It's money into a lot of this stuff they got you conditioned to do.
Yes.
And credit card is one of them, because you
Yes.
read the Bible about debt and how you're not supposed to be in debt and all that other stuff. But when you really focus on that and learn, knowledge is power. Reading is fundamental, man. I'm telling you, read. Oh, these days you can watch YouTube all day and learn, just
Yeah.
like reading, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm here with you with that. Let's talk about your political background. So you're in the midst of running again for your position. Can you just tell us what it is and your campaign?
Okay. I won a special election, city council 2 years ago. So that term is up this year. So I have to rerun for city council. Came into politics in 2004 with Katrina.
Mm.
I became obsessed with everything that went on with it. And at that time, that was 2004. I want to say 2004.
Yeah.
I would get 5 newspapers every day. 5 newspapers every day. Go to work, read all 5. Come home with a notepad and writing the statistics all.
Wow.
Stayed up all night. When the levees, when it breached, everything. I studied everything because I couldn't understand how this was allowed to happen. And I know we say natural disasters, but I go a little deeper down in the rabbit hole than that. So I'll leave that there. But I became more and more into with politics, to where it got to the point where I was selected to partake in Sourcing Institute, which is a leadership program for future political leaders. So here, continuously street, but politics. And actually you had to have, it was 20 questions. It was 250 words per question. 250 words an answer.
Okay.
The deadline was Monday. I started on Sunday. And again, no computer skills. So I had to handwrite everything.
Ooh.
Co-worker, she was so cool. Up until about 2:30 in the morning, she typed every bit of that in for me.
Oh, that was nice.
I said, I can't let them down now.
Right.
And then you have to do a actual interview at a boardroom at a bank here. And when I got there, it was 11 candidates, so they were only selecting one. When I got there, I watched everybody, and sometimes people kind of look at you like you're in the wrong room.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to the bank to ask what this room was, they almost refused to tell me. Yeah, it was almost like, why would you want to know what it is? Not knowing that I'm there to be.
Wow.
But that was fine. See, stuff like that.
Stereotype.
That fuels me.
Right. Stereotype.
I got upstairs and I watched everybody sit down because I was the last one getting there. And when I looked around the room and saw how everybody was looking at me, light switch went. You know what? I got this. Because I appreciate that. I appreciate being prejudged.
Mm-hmm.
They feeling that I'm not supposed to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I remember as my interview went in, you go in this boardroom, you had this long table, everybody sit there, and you're on the end, and they start questioning. I knew I had them. As I was talking, I leaned in, made eye contact, and answered every question. By the time I knew I had them, because as I leaned in and they were leaning back, I began to lean back. When I leaned back, they leaned in. I got them. I knew I had them. So a week later, they called me back and said, congratulations, you were the one uh, your interview went the best, because everybody was looking at being artists. They wanted to look apart instead of being of
Being
service.
apart. Mm-hmm.
Instead of being of service. So I knew how to answer those questions. I knew what they were looking for. So that's
You
how.
did your homework.
Then I got my own community center, and really started doing the work where people couldn't even understand, why am I putting all this time and putting the community. It had got to the point where I was putting time and doing so many things in the community that they started really watching me. People would call and say, they want to know if you're really legit. Or it was one of those things where you say you missed the forest for the trees, because
Mm-hmm.
I understand how I was getting such a strong community response.
Mm-hmm.
Where was my money coming from to be able to do this? Well, it came off the backs of regular citizens. We were doing the biggest toy drive, coat drive, food drives, food supply drive, off of the backs of regular citizens. We weren't national organizations. We weren't not 501. I just had a dream of doing stuff and giving back. So as we were doing that, that's why I was saying we would do things, and the community, whether they were in position to be able to give back or not, give back because they wanted. Because
Right.
never turn around and say, no, you may need that for yourself. We're all at that point, and all have been at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Never do that. You allow them to come on and do that. It just kept spearheading. It was just such a big, gigantic fan. So they kept pushing me for politics then. I never seen it would be what I wanted to do. It happened this past run for the special election. I sit back, and I was sitting with my lady, and I was sitting with two of my brothers, and I was just thinking about my daughters and my grandbaby.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm able to do stuff, because some people say, well, you can still get the same amount of things done to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I want to be able to not only just do what I do in the community, but I want to be able to do it through policy, so I can answer questions that we need, and I can understand what goes on and what amendments and what agendas we have, as far as actually be that voice. Because what I'm trying to start doing now is really making certain that more people that are unfamiliar with how it works start coming in those chambers. So my campaign slogan was "People, Not Politics."
Nice.
It was never an I with me, and it's still not. We didn't have a campaign manager. People, so we just literally used people power, and we ran probably the cleanest campaign you're gonna find.
Nice. That's good to hear. The cleaner the better. Because you don't have to owe nobody nothing.
Other candidates did as well. We just went through it, and we tell people. I said, even though this is politics, that it's not that all of us are against one another, because it was only one chair that was up. It was one seat. So it's like, it's not only that, that we're looking to oppose. No, we're just three citizens who feel that they can best serve the city with their ideas. That's all it was.
Great mindset. That's exactly how you're supposed to do it. And believe if it's for you, it's for you. And if it's not, it was still a good experience, and you still learn from it. And it's gonna go somewhere with that. You learn something, you're gonna use it in something other facet in your life. It's never a waste of time. Never. Because I'd rather run and get the experience and learn from it than to not do it at all, because I'm gonna say I ain't gonna win anyway. You can't think that way.
Because everybody won just by getting in.
Yeah, you're right, and I agree with that. I really agree with that mindset. So before we head out, I wanted to ask you. We're talking earlier, and you were telling me about your Operation Statehood and the money you were talking about, and how and I heard something like this before. It was a different formula, but it was the same concept, as in everybody contributes a certain amount. Like they kind of say they're gonna do it every month or whatever, and take that money and put it inside of the community, do the things you're saying. And I think that's a great idea. And when you do it, put me down, even though I'm an honorary Danville resident. So put me down. I will definitely do it once a month with you. I think,
But what I was telling people about it too, because some people say, well, I could do more than $2.50 a week. I could do $20. I said, no, I want to. Everybody is the same investor, so there's no big I's and no little U's.
That's right.
I had someone say, well, you're kind of blocking it if you're not allowing more. No, we just said $2.50 for 1,000. That's all we said. We didn't say, give me $5.50. We just $2. We keep everybody at a level playing field right there. Everybody invested the same. Everybody will have record on where.
Equal share. Mm-hmm.
Made it bulletproof. I had a friend that worked on Wall Street. I did a favor for him, and he said, "Listen, we'll put this thing together." And we did this years ago. But one thing I've learned, I know people have heard me speak for years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one that always feel like time is perfect for everything. You have to have that perfect time, even though they say it's no such thing as perfect. When things drop at a certain time, that is the perfect time. That's why it hit like that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm looking at throughout our community is we have to buy in, we have to trust them. That's a process.
Mm-hmm.
That's a process. That's just like talk about conscious community or something. And I tell people that was me. Once I started gaining knowledge of self, I wanted to give it out so hard and so fast that it was becoming frustrating when people didn't receive it.
Receive it, yeah.
What I had to do, I said, wait a minute, Hood. You had to receive it. You didn't get it. You got it your time.
That's right.
Yeah, we have to understand, we have to be gentle with people, myself included. And then, we have to build that up. Change don't always come easy or fast.
No, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Yes, indeed. So once we buy and start really, really trusting one another, then we'll grow. But
well, what you're doing with this program, Operation Statehood, is basically what it is building trust in the community. Because if everybody has the same amount of stake and same amount of skin in the game, then you're gonna start caring about what's happening because your money is being invested into these programs or into these projects that you're going to be doing in Danville. And when people start caring, they'll start doing right with their stuff, and they'll start, keeping their stuff nice and picking up, little stuff. I mean, Joe Osteen said this one time, and he said, to be a good steward doesn't mean you have to do something major. You could just see something on the ground that needs to go in the garbage can, pick it up and put it in the garbage. You don't have to do nothing major, but if everybody does that, our world will be a better place.
Absolutely will.
So I really believe in that. So that's why I said I'm serious about that. Put me down because I think that's a great idea. And hopefully other people will catch on and do the same in their communities. And for the people who are saying to you they want to do more, you can get the people that we need to do $2.50 was 50 cents or $2.25.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's what I need you to do. I need you to get 5 more people that's going to willing to do this so we get to our goal of 1,000 people. So that's what I need you to do. Yep. That's your job. So that's great. Like I said, this is really amazing. And I just want to say to you, kudos to you, Mr. Hood, because when I first met you and you would tell me everything you were doing, and I'm just amazed because a lot of young people, and I still consider ourselves young, but we don't really invest in these neighborhoods, our neighborhoods. We don't invest in our people, but we complain all day.
Right.
And we don't do nothing to change it. So, and I know you have tireless nights. I know you have days you don't feel like it. Everybody can be human, but you still press on. So thank you for being that person, because it's not a lot of y'all out there that's going to do endless. And like you said earlier, anything that's a purpose is easily and effortlessly. Mm-hmm. And that's what I believe as well. I believe is effortlessly, because you'll do it getting paid or not getting paid.
Right.
You'll continue to do it.
Absolutely.
I really would say that. So our last question for this evening is, tell me one of your defining moments, something that stands out.
I have several of those.
Well, give me your one that can get you right there.
That I'll show you. I'll use one that I can consider hard pays off. I'll use one of those. Mm-hmm. It was 2008. And going in politics and wanting to see the common cause and see the common good. I'll use the Obama campaign.
Okay.
I'll use that. I remember I collect magazines. Now they're almost obsolete, but I used to collect all hip hop magazines. I still have hundreds of them.
XL,
all
Source,
of them. Vibe,
Source.
Yeah, the Source, all of them.
Yeah.
And during that time, then Senator Obama was on a lot of those covers.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a lot of those.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you. So I remember going in and saying, I want to help. They brought the campaign to Danville, which was extraordinary because we didn't have nothing of that magnitude, but that magnitude was all over the country at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Came
here in my town too.
Right. I went and volunteered. Hadn't done anything like that before. Volunteered. And you can't be lazy because they want you to door canvas or do phone bank.
Mm-hmm.
That was something too, because by the time I finished, they had started putting me in persuasive areas. I'm a independent, which now I'm a libertarian.
Okay.
Being there and going through that and getting on persuasive calls, I would make about 200 calls. And you could imagine what was coming out of them.
Mm.
It pulls your energy all. Fast forward, the more I start going out, the more I start hearing things because I was in persuasive community. So the more opposition that came, the stronger I studied and learned, right? So I remember one time I was just like, I'm beat. I am literally, and they were really spreading me thin. And so, now here I am. I remember I was at work and I got a phone call at my job. And I answered the phone and it was a campaign. These people. No, but I remember, and I answered the phone and they said, Mr. Hood, are you busy next Tuesday? I want to say,
yes.
But I was just like, not that I know of. You know, I just kind of said, okay, because we need you to do something. I was like, here we go. Okay. But I knew what I signed up for, regardless of the face I was making, that they couldn't see through the phone. They told me, they said, listen, we need you to take 4 high school students to meet the president of the United States. All of a sudden, my tone changed up.
Look, he's sitting up in your seat. Wait, let me sit up.
But make a long story short, they did that because of the diligent work that I was doing. That I was coming home 2, 3 in the morning. Because once I had that drive, and it was that drive. So the thing was, my daughter, my 2 nieces, and my little cousin all were in high school.
Oh.
I took my daughter, my 2 nieces, and my little cousin to meet the president. Let me tell you how important credit and things is. They ran a credit check on me. And my first apartment, I actually, you're 19.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't have, my mom's condition, I didn't have anyone to tell me how, which that's that's then, everything's corrected. But that hung over me. And I was thinking, because we had to do social security numbers for the girls. And
do all that. They
can't have this milestone to meet him because of my shortcomings. I'd never be able to live with myself. But when they told me, I was like, wait a minute, that's corrected. So I went, got the information, and they said, yeah, you're fine, you're good. But they said, well, if it rains, you're not going to be able to meet him. So you got a 50-50 chance. I was like, but you told us this. Well, guess what happens that day?
No.
A tsunami almost came. A partner lived in Richmond. We went to a hangar in Richmond at the Richmond airport. My partner, he was like, well, if they can't see him, Hood, we'll take them to the mall, take them out to eat. I was like, that's no comparison.
They ain't gonna work. You gotta go from the mall. Look, the president to the mall.
We kept pressing. It was me and them. We rode all the way to Richmond. We kept pressing. I mean, it rained like you could not believe. We get there. They put us in a trailer with monitors, and we're watching everything. Now, they shut down the airport that day. Shut the whole airport down. As we're there, we're just kind of briefing. So you have people all the time talking to us. This, that, that. He only met a total of 27 people. I'm sorry, 26. Total of 26. We're 5 of that. So we're there. and looking, and it's like, may not look like it's gonna happen, but it's kind of clearing off. So I'm listening. So they say, I tell you what, they took us in an airplane hangar. Next thing you know, we see the biggest airplane you could ever had, which was Air Force One. Door opens up, the pilot walks out and looks around, goes back in. Military and press. They said, everybody come up right here. So at this time, it was like 19. They put us all lined in the front. Still raining. President Obama steps off of the plane, comes and greets every one of us, and calls me Stay Hood, and shook my hand. That was monumental because I was able, my family, young girls, well, young ladies, have this opportunity to shake. Didn't take pictures or anything, but he ended up sending us Christmas cards. I still was hard headed and pulled a quick side move and hit it. He looked at me like, did you have to do that? But it's just the fact that hard work of being of service and volunteering. Some people look at it, maybe that's not a payoff, but it was, because it wasn't the fact that I was able to do that. It was the fact that I was able to take the youth to something they will always remember. The hard work that I did.
That is one of the best ones I heard yet. And guess what I thought about when you said it? He came off the plane and called you Stay Hood.
Yeah.
Meaning, while he was on the plane, he studied all of y'all.
Yeah.
He actually took the time to learn who y'all were and greeted y'all by name.
Came out in the rain.
That tells you something about his character. He's a servant leader anyway. He's a servant leader. Mm-hmm. I always tell people, you want to lead, that's a great leader, because he's a servant leader. It's a difference. He's on the dance floor with his people. He's not in VIP.
Right.
On the dance floor with you.
Because it was not supposed to go down at all in that rain. And he was like, I'm not
disappoint. He's not gonna disappoint, because y'all worked hard for him, and he said, I'm gonna show you gratitude because y'all worked hard for me. That's what I'm saying. That's the type of leadership, and that's the kind of person that, I see you as a servant leader. You're a servant leader, and we need those type of people. We don't need dictators. We don't need people that micromanage. We don't need people that think that they're better than who they serving, because we all need to serve.
Right, absolutely.
So that's great. That's wonderful. So I would like to thank you. I want you to hold on after we finish, though. But I would like to thank you so much for blessing us with your story and your. You got so much is happening.
It was my humble.
And I really, really appreciate you. So, like I always say, with Let's Talk, we are here to empower, motivate, and uplift our audience, and we always here to help. Hopefully inspire you to be your best person, and we bring this business spotlights up here so you're able to see, you could do this too.
You can.
You could make a big difference in this world. So,
quick skill. I had a whole frontline music store with no money. Wow. I didn't know how to get. I worked my regular job. I rented a building. All I knew is I loved music because I bought it. I rented a building. I literally robbed Peter to pay Paul. I know it's an old school figure speech, but I would shorten other bills to make sure I had this building. People said, man, you got to be insane. That's not going to work. You're not going to be able to do that. I didn't have a loan. It was like, you're going to need so much capital. I figured it out. Fast forward, I figured it out and had major stores, record stores, coming to see how I'm doing what I'm doing. You just always have to have a flair to keep reinventing. Able to get a full frontline store with no capital. It was just like ways of me in entertainment. I knew I wanted to do concerts. Listen, I don't have the capital. I do shows, and I have not written a contract, signed a contract with no artist, and I've had everybody find Sunshine Anderson, Michelle, Freeway, comedians from Chris Thomas to Pierre to Hamburger, you name it. And I've kept personal relationships with each one of them.
Because it's because of the way you are. See, this is where I'm hoping that people get, you gotta be this type of person for you, because people see real. Okay. I guarantee you, all these artists. I used to be in the entertainment industry as well, so I know how they do.
Mm-hmm.
And promoters are some don't get. They don't have some good names sometimes. Ooh,
Right.
whew. I can tell you some stories offline about, but and they get on guard because a lot of times they got shifted, or they got gypped and they got robbed and all that. So for them to want to keep rapport with you and keep a relationship with you speaks
Yeah.
volumes of your character. Because I'm telling you,
And they want to see you win. And that's how I used my platform called ETE, which is Economics Through Edutainment. I remember booking Tank, R&B singer Tank. My cousin used to be Tank's road manager, so that's got in the loop with understanding and meeting all.
understand the music.
Yeah, because I've met everybody I've met Tupac, I've met Jay-Z, Dame Dash, Method Man, met Biggie once. So these people I've actually been able to talk to and meet.
Right.
But just staying true to who you are and understand what you're doing, and they want to see you win genuinely.
Yeah, if you have that I'm saying you can see through people. So when you genuine like that, people would definitely look out for you.
Yep.
So, but until next time, my family, this was wonderful. I can't wait till we have this out, because this is you're gonna bless somebody. I know it is. And so until next time, God bless. Thank you for joining Let's Talk, and y'all have a good day.
Good night.